And welcome back to CTV News Channel. I'm Todd Vanderheyden. As of today, people who are working remotely in the province of Ontario will be able to do that, whether or not they're being electronically monitored by their employer or not. Under new legislation, companies with 25 or more employees will be required to have a written electronic monitoring policy in place. The policy would need to contain information on whether employees are being electronically monitored or not. That information will have to be disclosed within 30 days. Mackenzie Irwin is an employment lawyer who joins me now. I appreciate you taking the time today. Your thoughts on this and the implications, Mackenzie?
Yeah, it's a great first step, actually, because it's really, really important that employees are able to understand even if their employers are electronically monitoring them. So since the pandemic, with everyone working from home, it's been a lot of uncertainty in terms of what employers can and can't do. And a lot of employers have implemented these electronic monitoring systems without their employees' knowledge. So this legislation is very timely, and it's very important because it allows employees to know whether their employer is actually monitoring them.
Yeah, and I'm curious, where things stand in terms of, let's say you are working from home as a result of the pandemic, the rights, so to speak, or what an employer, Mackenzie, is allowed to do to make sure you're actually working when you're supposed to be working. Could you walk us through that in layman's terms?
Yeah, so right now there really isn't any clear form on what they can and cannot do, as long as employers aren't breaching your privacy rights that are already in place. And so this new legislation doesn't give employees any more privacy rights. It just forces employers to be transparent with their employees as to whether they're actually monitoring them or not. So I think that's a really important distinction, that it doesn't actually give you more rights. It's just empowering employees with the knowledge as to whether their employers are actually doing this.
I'm curious whether this will allow some employers to better track their employees, or who do you think is the winner in this?
Well, I don't think there is a true winner. I don't think that's the point of the legislation. I think it's really just to kind of give employees the knowledge. It doesn't say whether employers can or can't do certain things. It's just really, at this point, we know that employers have implemented certain systems to track their employees' work, whether they're working from home or they drive a delivery van or they work in a store. Employers are collecting this data, and the point of this legislation is really to make sure that employees understand and know when their employers are doing that.
Mackenzie, thank you for taking some time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.